helping someone choose a date. Now, often people are going to choose very easily when you use the stars and the post-its, and that's a really good, easy way to do it, but sometimes they need a little bit of help. So we need to help them narrow it down a bit, and we do this by asking questions. What we don't ask is, oh, what day do you want to have it? That is way too hard because it just makes people get all flustered, it leaves things open, and all they're going to say is, I don't know, oh, I think it's a bit too hard. So we need to ask them a question that makes them have to make a choice. It makes it very easy for people. So the question is, would you like it on a weekend or a weekday? They only have to choose one. So they go, okay, maybe a weekday. All right. Would you prefer a Thursday or a Tuesday? And you're only offering days that you want to work, remember? Oh, okay, maybe I could have it on a Tuesday. All right, my next available Tuesday is in 2 weeks' time. How does that suit? And there you've got it. It's probably going to be fine. She'll probably choose that one. So it makes it really, really easy for people. And it's something that happens which is really odd, but you can use to your advantage, and I don't know why this works, but it does work, is that people almost always choose the second option. So if you want to do it on a weekend, then ask, would you like it on a weekday or a weekend? Second option. They'll almost always choose it. If you want it on a Tuesday, do you want it on a Thursday or a Tuesday? If you want it on a Thursday, then you do it the other way. Do you want it on a Tuesday or a Thursday? So I don't know why it works. Maybe because they just choose the last one that they heard, but it does work. So have a go. It's actually quite fun to try it. All right, so that's good, although it doesn't always go quite as smoothly as that. Sometimes what you're going to hear is, I'll call all my friends first and then I'll get back to you. Oh my goodness, that's dreadful. Because although they mean what they say, chances of them actually calling back with a date are 0. And if you call them, they're going to say that they couldn't find a suitable date, and that's going to be a lost booking. So here's something to try. What you need to say is, look, I do understand that you want to check with your friends so you can have as many of them there as possible. So let her know that you do understand that, because it does make sense. Now what you're actually going to find, though, is it'll be impossible to find a date to suit everybody. And it is really important that the date that you choose is a date that both of us are available on. Otherwise nothing's going to happen, because she needs to be there and you need to be there. So how about we find a date that we know that we're both free on and pencil it in. All right, so you're not asking her to make a commitment, it's only pencil it in. Then you can, when you call your friends, you can try it out on them, and if it doesn't suit enough people, we can always change it. Anybody that can't come might be interested to look at the catalogue or even book their own party. Okay, so that's all you need to say, and when you approach it in this way, what you're suggesting makes absolute perfect sense, and the funny thing is that 99.9% of the penciled in dates will hold. When they call, they're not expecting everyone to make it, and you've already said to them, well, look, maybe they could buy or book, so they know what to say to those people. You're not going to lose the booking. So if you try that out, that will work a treat. And I think I was quite new in party plan when I first heard this. I was tearing my hair out about these people saying this to me, and it felt like I'd just discovered something amazing when I tried it, and it actually worked. So have a go with that. Now the next problem that you'll come up against is the people that say, look, I really want to have a party, but not now. Call me in 6 weeks. And I tell you what, whenever I heard that, I think, that's not me, by the way, but I think that might be what I looked like. It was like, oh no, that's what I'd look like inside, because I would dread it, because actually calling these people was stressful for me. I knew it was going to be awkward, and I knew I probably wouldn't get the booking, because they almost all, in fact, I don't think I booked any of them. So what tends to happen is that from our point of view, we get all ready to do the phone calls, and we spend a bit of time getting prepared with what we want to say, and we know that this call is important to us. And for those of us that have issues with the phone, which is lots of us, and particularly me, it could be a really big thing. So this is taking over all of our headspace at the time. So we get ready, we take a deep breath, and we make the phone call. Meanwhile, what's happening at her place is that the baby needs changing, The older child's just tipped a pot of paint all over the carpet. The courier is at the door and there's a pot boiling over on the stove. And you phone, all chirpy and chatty, asking how's her day and would she like to have a party. And to top it all off, when you start talking, she can't quite remember who you are. So then you need the big explanation about who you are and where you met, and she said call you in 6 weeks, and now here you are, and you're expecting her to be pleased to hear from you. So if you think about it like that, what actually are your chances? And of course these people don't book because they just say no. So this was a real problem for me, and I managed to find a way to book almost all of these people. Probably 80% of the time I got the bookings from these people, so I was so pleased with that, and that's what I want to show you now. I have to say I feel really pleased with myself about this because it so solved the problem. So the way that I solved it was to do something actually very old-fashioned these days. I wrote them a letter first. Now, when you phone, you are putting people on the spot, and their reaction is to say no. Once they say no, you can't really call them back. So you don't want to get into that situation. Now, when I say write, I mean write. Don't print anything off the printer. It's really important this is personal and it doesn't look mass-produced. Just the minute it looks mass-produced, you've lost her again. And when you send a letter out, you get past all of the who are you again thing that happens when you call out of the blue, because it's so awkward and uncomfortable for us, and I imagine it's probably a bit annoying for her as well. She opens the letter and reads it in her own time when she has the headspace to read it, when the baby's been changed, the paint's been cleaned up off the floor, and there's no one bothering her. Her initial reaction to look at it and say no will be put on hold until after she's flicked through the information you've sent. You can re-excite her about the products for the brochure that you send with it, and the best part of this is that when you do the follow-up calls, the calls will be very short. So we're going to talk about what you could put in the letter now, but don't email this. This can't be an email. It must be handwritten and it must be in an envelope, and I always put it in a brightly coloured envelope. So just in case she had read it and kind of needed a bit of prompting, I could say, well, this was I sent you something a couple of days ago. It was in the bright purple envelope, and she'll always remember that. All right, so I'm going to share with you the letter that I wrote. I use the same letter all the time, and I'll explain to you why I have put what I have where I have. So in the first paragraph, last time I spoke to you, you were considering hosting a party. You asked me to contact you about now to talk about it further. So in this first paragraph, what I'm saying is, well, you asked me to call you, and I'm only doing what you asked me to do. When she reads this, she'll most likely think, oh, did I ask her to did I ask her to do that? Must have. Make sure that she actually did. Don't do it and try and trick her. Second paragraph, I've enclosed details of our September host promotion, where I'm offering you the opportunity to receive whatever it is. I've also enclosed details of the latest product releases from Bella Beauty, which is my made-up company, and special offers available. So make sure that if there was anything that you remember that she really liked on the night when you met her, that there's a photo in there of it, because you want her to look at it and go, oh, that's right, I really liked that. And then memories of the products are going to start coming back to her. Next little sentence, I'll give you a call in the next day or so to see if you're ready to make a date. All you need is yourself and 4 or more friends, and it only takes about an hour and a half. So this is making it sound easy. You decide on the number of people, obviously, and you decide what you want to write in here. But note that I've put the party only takes about an hour and a half. Now, parties should only take an hour and a half. You should be in and out of the house in 2 hours, and it really doesn't matter what products you sell. That should be enough time. It's way better to leave them wanting more than to have them feel like they never need to see your products ever again, because they know everything they could ever want to know about your products. And just note that if your parties go too long, it's going to affect your bookings as well. And one of my past consultants, she was a fantastic seller. She did big parties. They were almost always over $1,000. They were huge, biggest seller in my group. But she could not book. She was never getting bookings. And I went through everything with her about how she did a party, about just everything I could think of, and she was doing everything right. So eventually I actually went to a party with her and sat there, and what I found was she was basically putting people through a seminar workshop on, we were selling aromatherapy products, so on aromatherapy. Her parties took 4 hours, and by the end of it everyone was exhausted. She bought heaps because they were so impressed and they learnt so much, but she didn't get any bookings. So a $1,000 party and no bookings is not worth as much as a $500 party with 2 bookings. That's worth more because that'll translate into more $500 plus parties. So as soon as we got her parties down to 2 hours and she stopped telling them everything there was to know, she immediately got lots of bookings. So keep your parties short. Now it does say in here as well, I'll give you a call in the next day or so. You must do that. You must call when you said you would. If you don't call, then you can really never contact this person again because you've lost all credibility, you're not being professional, and she'll remember that. And you might think about times when business people have said that they'll contact you and haven't. You remember that, so make sure you do call. So call about 2 days after you post it. So the last paragraph, I hope all is well with you. You've had a restful and happy time over Christmas, New Year, or I hope you're keeping warm or enjoying some break, whatever it is. I look forward to talking with you. So there's the letter. And the very first time I did this, I actually had written on a piece of paper all of the possible things that people could say when I called them. And I was all ready. And the very first call I did, I said, "Hi, it's Anne from Bella Beauty here." And she said, "Great, I was waiting for you to call. I'd like my party next Thursday, please." And I tell you what, that wasn't one of the things I had written down on the paper. And I was gobsmacked. I didn't know what to say to her. But that was fantastic. I nearly fell off my chair, but that was great. I didn't have to explain who I was. I didn't have to try and get her to remember my products. I didn't even have to tell her why I was calling. The great thing was as well that even when people said, "No thanks, actually I don't want to have one," the phone call was still very short and quick. It cut out heaps of time. So if you've got a list of people who said, "Call me later," and there's quite a lot of them, and you're worried about sending letters out to everyone and getting onto them all in time, just do a few at a time. Do a few a week. Doesn't take long to get through them. You'll be quite amazed. And of course some people will say no, but you'll get them on your mailing list, and the other people will just say, "Yep, already got the date."